Welcome everyone to the 184th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where we will be looking into Mingyu and Wonwoo. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Madeline and it is so nice to meet you. On this channel, I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planets, signs, aspects, and of birth times available house relays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe and click the bell to join us twice a week, and let's get right into this one. Starting off with the sun, we have Mingyu's sun in Aries and Wonwoo's sun in Cancer. These are both cardinal signs. They need to adjust to each other, and Wonwoo can learn independence from Mingyu. I wonder if this could be related because they're in a band together, 17 I want to say, if my memory serves correct. But potentially, I don't know, is there anything with Mingyu maybe going independent from the band or something, and Wonwoo aren't following any steps or something like that? Mingyu can learn compassion from Wonwoo, and Mingyu subconsciously, selfishly accepts Wonwoo's nurturing. There's conflict between Mingyu's independence and Wonwoo's loyalty. Potentially, maybe Mingyu's the one that wants to go independent and Wonwoo's the one that kind of wants to stay, keep the band. Mingyu doesn't naturally give emotional substance to the relationship. Wonwoo's sun overlaid in Mingyu's second house. Mingyu is a valuable asset to Wonwoo, potentially why Wonwoo may want him to stay and be in the band rather than going off independent. Mingyu may feel used, and Mingyu senses Wonwoo wants something more. They both may be working towards a common goal. I mean, yeah, the whole careers are a kind of common goal together. Wonwoo sees Mingyu as someone who can help him achieve goals. So a real sense of reliability when it comes to Wonwoo being reliant on Mingyu. It seems like particularly career-wise with the context we have. Mingyu's sun trine Wonwoo's moon. There is honest communication, and Mingyu relies on Wonwoo's support. Wonwoo relies on Mingyu's wisdom, and it's a naturally cooperative relationship. Wonwoo tends to be dependent on Mingyu, and they both feel they can rely on each other. Mingyu's sun sextile Wonwoo's Venus. They really love each other, and Wonwoo boosts Mingyu's ego. I mean, I guess he would. If you're so dependent on someone, I'm sure Mingyu's ego would feel a bit of a boost, I'm really needed and wanted here. They both have a desire for cooperation and harmony, which we did see that they both tend to be cooperative, so that seems to be being fulfilled, that desire. Mingyu feels adored by Wonwoo. Mingyu's sun is square Wonwoo's Jupiter. They have different values and they may overindulge each other. Their excess is from good intention, and there's a strong desire to make each other happy. Wonwoo has the ability to cheer up Mingyu, and they both may expect too much from the relationship, which I think you could read from each other, Wonwoo expecting Mingyu to just stay, with the band rather than go independent. But also you could see this as expecting too much from the band, especially, and even things like fame and stuff like that, what they get out of it. They both encourage the other to self-indulge and be impractical. Wonwoo's sun trine Mingyu's moon. This is a repeated aspect, just inverted, so everything from before is further emphasized, but also Wonwoo relies on Mingyu's support, and Mingyu relies on Wonwoo's wisdom. Mingyu tends to be dependent on Wonwoo, which is nice, I guess, that they're both dependent on each other. In a way they are when they're in a band, but obviously there is a bit more dependence on Wonwoo's, and in Mingyu being a bit more independent, there is that side of things as well. Wonwoo's sun opposite Mingyu's Neptune. There are misunderstandings, and Wonwoo has a lack of trust. There is delusion and deception, and Mingyu promises more than fulfills. I wonder, because seeing this lack of trust and this sort of dependence Wonwoo has for Mingyu, almost dependence, that might be a bit strong, but this sort of dependence, desperation that Wonwoo has on Mingyu. And we did see how Mingyu senses Wonwoo wants something more, and this thing with Mingyu promising more than fulfilling. I wonder if there is a particular not so great reason why Mingyu wants to go independent. If he has this sort of they kind of want something more from me. That just makes me think Mingyu is a bit, suspicious, a bit cautious, paranoid potentially. So it just makes me think this whole thing with him promising more than fulfilling. I wonder if he is kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the band, if that makes sense, kind of preparing his steps and everything. And Wonwoo has this sort of like suspicions about it, and potentially like Mingyu, I don't know, promises like he's gonna do an album or something or some tour, and then cuts back on his promise or something like that. That's where my brain is going. I'm not sure like if these two are still in the band together or there was some sort of separation of dependence or something like that already. They both need to be clear with each other, and Wonwoo believes Mingyu is his soulmate, which he could see in like a sort of more platonic way, especially in like a band musical way. Potentially like Wonwoo feels like he's the closest to Mingyu out of all of his band members. Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading. So now it's time for moon. We have Mingyu's moon in Pisces and Wonwoo's moon in Leo. Wonwoo often exaggerates to get Mingyu's attention, and Wonwoo may be controlling and domineering. I don't really like that. Like, considering we're seeing Mingyu, he's a bit in and out for some reason. Potentially, it could be maybe Wonwoo is too controlling. Mingyu may give up his desires to please Wonwoo, and Mingyu acts as a doormat. Yeah. It seems like he wants to leave, but like he kind of like can't, and like he seems to be submitting to Wonwoo a bit. Wonwoo cheers up Mingyu, which I think we're seeing again. So like there is some positive contribution of Wonwoo. He does seem to be quite positive. So that is there. It's not just some weird like, oh, are they leaving me or not game. Wonwoo's moon overlaid in Mingyu's third house. It's cooperative and friendly, and Wonwoo admires Mingyu's lifestyle. Interesting. Wonwoo is supportive of Mingyu's priorities. Maybe not career priorities, but you know, that's there. In other ways he could. Mingyu enjoys Wonwoo's company. I assume that is just, you know, the general positivity from him, he seems like. They communicate well, and Mingyu thinks of Wonwoo often, which makes me think, I don't know, is he like paranoid about something? Like paranoid, you know, thinking, oh my gosh, Wonwoo's like controlling me or something like that. Like that's where my brain's going. They're relaxed and productive, and they don't irritate each other. Mingyu's moon, Trine Wonwoo's Mercury. They're comfortable talking to each other about everything, and Wonwoo enjoys being emotionally nourished by Mingyu. I wonder if maybe that's what it is. Like Wonwoo has this emotional need to have like Mingyu around him and everything. Wonwoo provides a foundation for Mingyu's feelings, and Mingyu is comfortable expressing his feelings with Wonwoo. It's a harmonious relationship. We are seeing these sort of like notes here and there of that, which is nice, the harmony and everything. Mingyu's moon is square Wonwoo's Mars. It's a stormy relationship. In some ways it is, isn't it? It's an emotional roller coaster, and they both will need to work out issues as they come, which I feel like would be related to if like there are times where like Mingyu is not happy with like either what the band does or Mingyu or Wonwoo, sorry. Probably should bring that up, but like it also is quite hard because like it is the music industry, and if it is a matter of control, I don't really blame him for not being very on top of it, like working out issues as they come, because I'm sure it could very well, you know, not end well for Mingyu. There's a difficult relationship emotionally if there are children. I don't believe either of them have kids, but this could be like down the track, like if they are like those colleagues that, you know, the families like really get in the way of that. It's mostly like we've seen with like the actors sort of, actors on TV shows, you know, those duos from there. You know, I feel like in most of them we've seen like this difficult relationship emotionally if there are children, like when children kind of come and kind of ruins the relationship, so to speak. Not that that is a bad thing as such, because, you know, yeah, common sense, right? But yeah, potentially down the track, like I don't know if either of them have families and that becomes the new priority, there could be, you know, obviously difficult emotionally. Wonwoo doesn't have the patience to connect with Mingyu's feelings. Interesting, because we saw how, you know, Wonwoo enjoys the emotional nourishment. Don't really like that he's not having the patience to connect with Mingyu's feelings, but that's there. They're very reactive to each other, and there's a possibility for codependency. Wonwoo's independence makes Mingyu feel insecure. Oh, that's interesting, because what if Wonwoo goes independent and like this whole time Mingyu wants to go independent as well? I mean, you could also read this as Wonwoo's independence, like maybe Wonwoo just being a bit more domineering and everything, and in a way like independent, selfish, those sort of like themes and everything. So that you could also interpret it that way. It's hard to relax together and resentment can grow. Yeah, not surprisingly so. Mingyu's moon is sextile Wonwoo's Neptune. Art is a shared interest and they sense each other's feelings. They understand each other and there's a mystical meeting. There's a spiritual connection. Mingyu's moon at Trine Wonwoo's Pluto. There's an intense meeting and they both will need to let go of fake personas. They both bring truth and change in social and political areas together, so I'm not sure if they're involved in some charities together or anything like that. There's a strong bond and they're involved in organizations together. The charity thing, you could see this as well, but also like I assume they're under the same record label, being in the same band. They can solve problems in their community and they can go through difficulties together. They both can transform each other. Wonwoo's moon is square Mingyu's Mercury. It's emotionally challenging. I mean, yeah, the major thing we've seen with emotionally challenging is like Wonwoo expects Mingyu to like nurture him emotionally, but Wonwoo doesn't really want to reciprocate it, it seems. And potentially down the track, if they have children, you could also interpret the whole children thing. Maybe like there's a difference in priorities in terms of like family, because like very well, like, you know, I don't know, one of them could have like a, you know, niece, nephew, both where, you know, they have a very strong connection with and they're prioritizing that sort of family time and everything. You could also interpret it that way. They both need to learn to listen and Wonwoo has a hard time getting Mingyu to listen. Wonwoo feels Mingyu doesn't value his opinions or respect him intellectually. Mingyu feels Wonwoo is too sensitive to criticism and Mingyu feels frustrated with Wonwoo. Again, that sort of resentment building up towards each other. Wonwoo's moon at Trine Mingyu's Venus. There is mutual appreciation and it is easy to compromise. They're a social couple and there's natural affection. They appreciate art together and they are supportive of each other during conflict, which we have seen they can go through difficulties together, which like there are those positive things, like they can go through those difficulties. It's generally harmonious. They want to make each other happy. It just seems like a bit of conflict emotionally and like, I guess, ego-wise, you could say, career-wise. Wonwoo's moon opposite Mingyu's Jupiter. Their emotions can get out of control and there's unkept promises, which the unkept promises, I think we saw it was like Mingyu like promises more than fulfills. Their beliefs are conflicted and Wonwoo may smother Mingyu. Oh, that's not great. They're attracted to each other because the other has what they need. Meeting-wise, we've only seen that it's like intense and mystical, which could kind of mean anything. You know, it could mean like, you know, that they met when they were like creating the band together, because that, I'm not sure how they formed together, but you know, some bands kind of are formed together by the record labels and like that would have been quite intense and like mystical. I got accepted into this band and everything. So it could be from that to even, I don't know, as simple as, I don't know, like meeting at the playground when you're babies or something like that. You know, that sort of mystical fate thing. So I'm not sure how they met, but there is definitely an element of like using each other, so to speak, with the music. It seems like they rely on each other for the music, but they also want to be independent at the same time. They both think the other is a bad influence. Wonwoo's moon at Trine Mingyu's Saturn. Building on past traditions is important and it's a stable relationship. I mean, in a way, like they're kind of contracted together. There's a potential for accumulating wealth. Duh, that has happened, I assume, by now. Wonwoo sees Mingyu as mature and Mingyu's desire for commitment is appealing to Wonwoo, which is interesting. I wonder if maybe because we've seen with Wonwoo this like sort of emotional like desire to maintain, like I think we did see like a desire to maintain emotional commitment or to like stay tied to Mingyu or something like that. So I wonder if Mingyu also has the same thing, and sort of emotional need to like keep this going. even though he's conflicted between, like, I guess the more emotional and like practical side of things, like his heart and mind and head are a bit like conflicted, it seems like. Mingyu prioritizes domestic life. Okay, so that seems, it seems like Mingyu is the one prioritizing that domestic family life potentially. Mingyu finds it difficult to be emotionally caring. Not really great when Wonwoo is kind of expecting that of him, but that is there. And they can achieve mutual long-term goals together. Wonwoo's moon opposite Mingyu's Uranus. Wonwoo feels insecure with Mingyu's unpredictable behavior. Again, I think we were seeing like how Wonwoo is a bit like paranoid. I think it was like we both saw a little bit of paranoia on like elements of it. Maybe that's a bit of a strong word, but like paranoid themes and elements and all of that with both of them. So I wonder if that is why, you know, Wonwoo has these suspicions of Mingyu leaving. Maybe he does have some sudden unpredictable behavior or something like that. Mingyu subconsciously sees Wonwoo as a parent, and there's an unusual meeting. It's unstable long term. I mean, in the long term, I'm not sure how long the band has been together, if they're even together to begin with. That's probably something should have checked. But from what we're seeing in this reading, it kind of is setting up it's not going to be the most stable long term. Like, we saw the whole thing, like Mingyu prioritizing domestic life and like the whole if emotions come, if children come emotionally, this is kind of gonna go out. So we've seen that, like how resentment can grow and everything. So it is kind of setting up for, you know, not really the most stable long term and everything, like particularly in those key life moments, like it's gonna kind of come undone. Mingyu is not interested in emotional closeness like Wonwoo, and the relationship can begin and end suddenly, which kind of makes me think like maybe they were set up to be in a band together. Like that's where I'm leaning towards, considering what we have seen. Wonwoo's moon at Trine Mingyu's Pluto. This is a repeated aspect, not really inverted because there's no invertible points. So yeah, everything from before is further emphasized. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Mingyu's Mercury in Taurus and Wonwoo's Mercury in Leo. These are both fixed signs. Mingyu encourages Wonwoo to focus on physical aspects of life, and Wonwoo resents Mingyu for his criticism. I think we did see how Mingyu can tend to be critical, so that's there again. Mingyu sees Wonwoo as impractical, and Wonwoo sees Mingyu as someone with no vision, which I don't blame him for thinking that way, because like we saw how Mingyu's desire for commitment is appealing to Wonwoo. That makes me think Wonwoo finds success in the band. Obviously, it's a successful band, but like he finds like stability, and like this is where success comes from, like being in the band. So I wonder if like in a not only emotional way, but like practically, like Wonwoo sees like being in the band as the best thing to be. So potentially like, you know, sensing Mingyu wants to leave kind of makes him think like Mingyu is not really thinking, he's just being like impulsive, he's being unpredictable. No, someone with no vision of what's like gonna happen, you know. They help each other with their strengths. Wonwoo's Mercury overlaid in Mingyu's second house. They lack common views and it's difficult to see eye to eye together. They both get the impression that the other doesn't get them. Mingyu's Mercury square Wonwoo's Mercury, or both their Mercuries are squared together. So they have a contrasting approach to life. I mean, we've seen, you know, domestically, like family-wise, there seems to be of a conflict. It's hard to say, like the career thing, because they're in similar careers, so it's not necessarily contrasting. I guess contrasting in terms of like Mingyu seems to have a bit more of a desire to go independent than Wonwoo. It's difficult to work together. Maybe that's why they want to leave, or Mingyu really wants to leave, because like it's actually hard to work together, because we haven't really seen anything that they necessarily work well together. Like I think some readings we do, it's constantly like they work well together, great business couple, blah, blah, blah. But here we've seen like there's like potential for accumulating wealth, and I think that's about it to indicate that. They need to make effort to be tolerant of each other, and it's difficult to have a harmonious relationship. But they seem to have the desire to have it though. So even with like great difficulty, it seems like they persevere through that in a way. There's a difference in opinions and they have frustrating debates. They think the other is wrong and they both feel they cannot get along with each other. I mean, this could be a first impressions thing as well, or even like down the track when they're in the more unstable period in the relationship. Mingyu's Mercury trine Wonwoo's Jupiter. Wonwoo is enthusiastic about Mingyu's thoughts and ideas, and they have a strong friendship. They have positive and inspiring conversations, and they enjoy traveling together. So I assume like they enjoyed the touring side of things, which could make Mingyu a bit conflicted between like committing or not, because I'm sure it is a bit different like touring by yourself and then like touring with like I guess friends. Like hopefully have somewhat of a good rapport with like a group of people. Wonwoo introduces Mingyu to new ways of thinking, and Wonwoo can be too lenient with Mingyu. They come from different cultures, which they both come from South Korea, different cities, so I'm not sure if the different cities they're from is like a major difference. Some countries it can be a massive difference, some not so much. So I'm not sure if like the different cities and like areas they come from is like very different cultures that would conflict. Could also be like a class thing. I think we did see that. I think it was Wonwoo admiring Mingyu's lifestyle. Maybe Mingyu comes from, I don't know, a bit of a better class or something, where maybe he has a bit of a better lifestyle or something like that, but that is theirs. Mingyu helps Wonwoo with self-expression, which is like musically, so it would help him like career-wise and everything. Maybe that's why Wonwoo doesn't really want him to leave, because he actually helps. They have an optimistic meeting, and business together is advantageous. We're now starting to see them. Mingyu's Mercury square Wonwoo's Uranus, challenge the way the other looks at things, and they have intellectual conversations. Wonwoo finds Mingyu too traditional, and Mingyu finds it difficult to depend on Wonwoo, which I guess makes sense, because we did say how like Wonwoo doesn't have the patience to connect with Mingyu's feelings. That could be in a musical way as well, like maybe Mingyu has like feelings to express something in like a song or whatever, and Wonwoo is just not patient with that. So I guess in that way, you know, Mingyu could very easily find it difficult to depend on him. Wonwoo's Mercury opposite Mingyu's Neptune. Wonwoo finds Mingyu vague and elusive, and it is difficult long term, we're seeing again. Mingyu finds Wonwoo practical and logical, and Wonwoo's trust for Mingyu fades. Yeah, again, that's sort of like suspicions Wonwoo has of Mingyu. They frequent misunderstandings, and Mingyu feels misunderstood by Wonwoo. They find each other intriguing initially, and Mingyu's communication is manipulative. I mean, if he is kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like, and it seems like for him there's like both pros and cons to like staying with the band. Like we saw, you know, they enjoy traveling together, which makes me think Mingyu potentially enjoys like Wonwoo. Like Wonwoo seems to be a bit of a positive person. We've seen that he cheers up Mingyu and everything, so positive influence in that way. Seems to enjoy traveling and like touring around, that sort of part of things. It just seems like in other maybe things where Mingyu's ideas are a bit more, I don't know, for songs or something, they seem to be a bit overlooked. And he seems to, I don't know, if be, I guess, drained by that or something like that. So I guess, you know, being that, you know, half in, half out, your communication, it's not going to be the clearest, is it? And sometimes that can be interpreted as, you know, or just straight up being manipulative. Wonwoo finds Mingyu's spirituality unrealistic. Wonwoo's Mercury trine Mingyu's Pluto. They have deep conversations, and there's a revealing of deep dark secrets here. There's healing negative beliefs about relationships. No idea like about any of the relationships, so very well could be, you know, more serious relationships, also even like family as well, even in like music industries maybe. Mingyu helps Wonwoo open his mind, and it's a therapist-patient relationship. I mean, purely considering that we saw Wonwoo doesn't have the patience to connect to feelings, I assume Mingyu is playing more therapist than patient. They get to the bottom of matters, and they feel very close together. I'm sure they would. Like, I'm sure they have a very unique bond. It just seems to be a bit of like clashing with these two as well. They resolve difficult issues together, and Wonwoo is fascinated with Mingyu's depth. Mingyu appreciates Wonwoo's humor and easygoing nature. So now it's time for Venus. We have Mingyu's Venus in Aries and Wonwoo's Venus in Gemini. They both see love as something fun, which, you know, I assume this would be in terms of like how they view relationships. Obviously, like if they're friends, I assume they would talk about those things, and they both have the same interpretations of like things of love and romance and everything. Mingyu is impatient with Wonwoo, and they are both present in this relationship. I mean, like, they both do seem to be, okay, Wonwoo's a bit more present. Mingyu, you know, I would say like a 60-40 maybe thing with Mingyu, because he seems to be a bit in and out. They both allow the other to be an individual outside of the relationship. I mean, they seem to, like, that could very well be true. It doesn't seem like if that happens, they're necessarily happy with it. Wonwoo loves having satisfying conversation with Mingyu, and Mingyu finds it draining to have lengthy conversation with Wonwoo. But that seems to be how he is. Like, Mingyu seems to feel very drained here. It's a relationship of instability, not surprisingly so, and Wonwoo may find Mingyu shallow. I mean, I guess it is a bit shallow and more selfish in a way if you're, kind of wanting to ditch the band to do your own thing. Like, it's okay. It is a weird thing, isn't it? Because it's fine, but it is also like a bit selfish in a way, isn't it? Their attraction to each other fluctuates. Like obviously it doesn't necessarily have to be like, physical love attraction sort of thing. It could just be the draw to each other, because that seems to go on and off, especially with Mingyu. They both need to learn to slow down with each other. Wonwoo's Venus overlaid in Mingyu's 12th house. Wonwoo is deeply moved by Mingyu, and Wonwoo is needy and vulnerable around Mingyu. We've kind of been seeing throughout the reading. Wonwoo acts different in this relationship, and Mingyu doesn't understand Wonwoo. Mingyu feels Wonwoo is too good to be true, and Mingyu feels insecure in this relationship. Wonwoo tries to hold on to this relationship. Yeah, I feel like a lot of this is like kind of what we've seen throughout the reading. It's just all repeated, isn't it? Their Venus signs are sextile to each other, so they share similar ideals and they share similar taste in aesthetics. They appreciate how the other dresses, handles money, and socializes, which we have been seeing a lot of, like how they appreciate art together. So it seems like in that aesthetic, creative way, they are quite similar. Mingyu seems to be a bit, his ideas seem to be a bit going to the back burner, but possibility of a friendship turned marriage. The way I'm interpreting this is like marriage contract. They signed a contract together with the band, so it makes me think if maybe they were like friends before the actual band got together and they actually contracted. I don't want to say contracted themselves to each other, but like in a way they did. Like, it is with other people, but they're still in that other people. So it potentially like these two were friends before, like they, were contracted together essentially. They have good decision making skills as a couple and they cooperate on the basic level. They're at ease in each other's company and they feel warmly about the other. They both want to make the other happy and they share a social life as a couple. Mingyu's Venus square Wonwoo's Jupiter. Mingyu feels more confident and attractive around Wonwoo, and Wonwoo may feel irritated with Mingyu's possessiveness. Interesting, because like, he can be possessive. He's very in and out, so maybe that is the part of the unpredictable behavior. They can find a happy way to share their life, and it's promising. Career-wise, it's promising, has fulfilled itself. Wonwoo's Venus square Mingyu's Mars. There is jealousy and possessiveness, and Wonwoo sees Mingyu as dominant. Mingyu sees Wonwoo as seductive with no substance. Yeah, because we've seen a lot more of like Mingyu's feelings and like thoughts and ideas being kind of put into the back burner than things we've seen for Wonwoo in that way. So I wonder, I don't know if Mingyu feels like he's the one that has the actual like talent, so to speak, and like the ideas and everything, whereas Wonwoo maybe he does seem as just being like a pretty face for the band. Wonwoo's Venus trine Mingyu's Jupiter. Mingyu appreciates Wonwoo as a friend and they see the good in each other. They're financially abundant and they make each other feel more confident. I think we're seeing again. They share inside jokes and they're a popular couple. That is one way to put it. They thrive in each other's company and Wonwoo improves Mingyu's social life. That's nice. And like, whole thing, I didn't think about time with Mingyu appreciating Wonwoo as a friend. I wonder if maybe Mingyu, because if there is a potential for like these two were friends before the band, I wonder if maybe like when they were friends things were a lot like better between them maybe, and like Mingyu kind of prefers Wonwoo to be his friend rather than like a bandmate and colleague. So now it's time for Mars. We have Mingyu's Mars in Virgo and Wonwoo's Mars in Gemini. It's restless but experimental and they both tend to be picky with each other. We've kind of been seeing, haven't we? Wonwoo's Mars overlaid in Mingyu's 12th house. Mingyu feels uncomfortable around Wonwoo, not really surprisingly so. We've kind of been seeing like on both ends this sort of uncertainty around the other. Wonwoo brings out a hidden side of Mingyu and they fight each other, so I assume like arguments would occur over their differences at some point. We haven't really seen a whole lot of like, you know, like bickering and everything or like general disagreement. Like it's, from what we're seeing, or the way I'm interpreting it, they seem to be on different pages, but we're not seeing a whole lot of like they confront each other. We're seeing they want to cooperate, they want this to be harmonious. So I wonder if maybe, I don't know, something occasionally, like they could have moments of like fights and everything. It's a relationship forged in violence, and it's a relationship formed from having to protect one another. So I mean, it is the music industry. Like I think that's all I have to really say about it. Like, is a lot, I guess you could jump from there. You know, it's known to be not a very nice industry where a lot of bad things can happen. So I wonder, it's not really surprising that these two would find like comfort in each other, so to speak. I wonder if maybe because that is where their sort of emotional draw is to the relationship, and maybe why Wonwoo sees like Mingyu as having some, you know, someone with no vision, because like, you know, you're going to be out there and all vulnerable by yourself. At least with us, you have, you know, your support and everything. So that is where my brain is going with that. Wonwoo feels drained by Mingyu, that's being reciprocated, and Mingyu wants to protect Wonwoo. Mingyu sees the more fragile part of Wonwoo, which, yeah, we did see how like Wonwoo wants to be like emotionally nurtured. So that's there. Mingyu's Mars square Wonwoo's Mars, the Mars is squared together. There's a lack of basic understanding of each other and they push each other. It is difficult long term, we're seeing again. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I'll be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one and how you guys interpreted it. I feel like very interesting. Like, it'll be interesting to see where they kind of go, like especially as like they get older and like time goes on and those sort of like milestones are made. And if you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings twice a week. And besides that, give this video a like and I will see you guys next time. Bye!